Hello there. I hope you're doing well. My name is Shauna McGrath. I'm an astrologer based in California, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the full moon in the birth chart. So I decided to record this video today because we actually have a full moon coming up this weekend. It should be Saturday or Sunday, April 16th, depending on where you are in the world. But I wanted to talk about what it's like to have a full moon phase in your birth chart. So people that are born during a full moon, they experience the energy, the characteristics, the symbolism of a full moon all the time. They don't just experience it; they live it. They express it. And so, I wanted to share a little bit about what that's like and um, how to channel that energy, how to work with a full moon placement in your birth chart if that's something that you have. And maybe you don't have that, but you want to channel this energy in your life now as we're approaching a full moon. So let's talk about what the moon is in general. So you may have heard, especially if you just listened to my most recent podcast, that the moon is associated in most basic terms with emotion. It's also a symbol of maternal type caregivers or any kind of caregivers in general. It can also be a symbol of our early childhood experiences. And the moon in our birth chart is a symbol of how we navigate emotional energy, like what our emotional life looks like. And so the phase that the moon is in when you're born is very important because it adds another layer. So when we look at interpreting the moon in a birth chart, I'm looking at least at the sign, of course, but also the house that your moon is in your birth chart. I'm also looking at aspects that the moon is making. So, for example, someone that has moon in Aries opposite Saturn is going to be very different from moon in Aries opposite, let's say, Uranus. Like those are going to be totally different themes because the moon is infused with these different energies. So I digress. So we're looking at the sign, the house, the aspects, and also the phase. So when a person is born during a full moon, this is when the sun and the moon are opposite, this person experiences this energy of this emotional energy of needing to get something out, of culmination, of growth. The full moon is associated with these themes, with growth, with moving forward, with getting something out. The full moon is the maximum point of light from our perspective that the moon has. And so it's kind of like the way that I've seen it is it's almost like there's a sense of urgency to express or to get something out. And let me know if this resonates with you. But yeah, it's kind of like this, it can appear as extroversion. I think that depends again on the rest of the chart. But having a full moon in your birth chart, there's this sense of like a need to emote, a need to share, a need to get something out to people. And so that might be something as mundane or simple as emotional expression, letting people know how it is that you feel. But it can also be like building something. It can also be focusing on the growth of something. Full moon people are also very much like in the material world. They typically want things to be practical, to be tangible. They want something that they can, again, like build and grow on. And Oh, one thing that I wanted to note too is that, uh, I would ask you to reflect on this again if you have the full moon in your chart, or even if you're just working with full moon energy. Um, this may not be the way that you are, but it will feel natural to you. So one thing that I've noticed with reading charts is that sometimes someone will have, like, they'll live in an environment that is contrary to their nature. So full moon people, it's really great for them to express, to put them out there, to put themselves out there, to learn by doing and to try new things. Like, this is really, really good. Um, and to like make stuff happen. And if a full moon person is in an environment where maybe that's not supported, where any kind of trying something new, or doing anything to go outside the norm is sort of like diminished, then maybe they don't, they may not be that way. That doesn't mean that it's not natural to them to do so. So I think that's something that's one of the things that's very valuable about knowing your birth chart and getting readings, is that you get this reflection from the cosmos, from Psyche, about what your most authentic nature is. And of course, we're deciphering that. And so each, we do our best to interpret it. At least I do. I do my best to interpret it. But when I'm looking at someone's chart, I'm looking at like the most authentic way of being for them. And then what we do ideally is work together to figure out how that can manifest, how that can be expressed in their current environment. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, just something to think about. Again, whether you have, whether you were born during a full moon, or if you're just trying to channel this energy to see what resonates with you, as far as being expressive and allowing yourself to build on things. Full moon is also associated with celebration. It is that culmination point. It is like, whatever it is that you've done in the past comes to it, like all of the things and the tasks and the building that you've done previously, they can find an outlet. And so if there's a lot that you've, like within the lunar cycle, if you've been working a lot, let's say on your relationship to yourself, or you've been working a lot on your communication skills, there may be an opportunity to showcase that. So people that are born with this, it may feel like they're constantly like working really hard on something and then having to like present it, or it comes to a culmination. It might be this kind of theme of um, like I'm getting this image of like a wave, like riding the waves. Uh, the other piece of this too is that this is like everything in the chart. It's relative to your phase of life. So I think full moon people may have sort of a hard, like it may be more difficult when they're younger and in their 20s, because they're gaining all of this experience, like we all are, right? But for the full moon people, it's kind of like there's this feeling of like wanting to get there and wanting to have it, like wanting to have learned everything so that you can do the thing. And so the learning process can be like very, how do I say? Uh, Patience is not in high demand usually. And again, that depends on what is in the rest of the birth chart. So I find that past like 30s and 40s, it can be a little bit easier because you have learned the things, or had life experiences where you can grow and let things, that culmination sort of peak, so to speak. All right. Let me know how this lands with you. So I want to summarize major takeaways and major recommendations for people that have that were born during a full moon or have the full moon phase in their chart. Is it's really good for you to allow yourself to get excited about things, to try new things, to um, to allow for a sense of growth and ambition in your life. If someone's trying to like tell you, oh, that's like too much, like that person is denying the core of who it is that you are. So, of course, it's always important to take feedback and to consider that, but consider it with a critical eye, because there may be times when you feel like you're too much for people, and that's not your problem, that's their problem. It's a bad fit, I guess, is what I would say. So don't let that dampen you, that you have so much to give, and sometimes that's just in the way that you are and just in the way that you show up and how you shine. Like the full moon, it shines very brightly, and um, that there is a lot that you have to offer. How does this resonate with you or not? Leave a comment, let me know. As a reminder, I am an astrologer and I offer astrology readings and consultations. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can find me at shaunamcgrath.com, and I will be making more regular videos like this again. Happy to be back to it, and I look forward to seeing more of you soon. Bye.